So hey Kate, welcome back. Thanks for doing those songs, they were brilliant.
No worries, thanks.
So let's start with, who is Kate Nash? If you had to sum yourself
start
up,
with a really deep one.
If you had to sum yourself up like in a sentence, what would that sentence be?
Oh dear, I don't know. I think that I would say I'm really, I go with gut instinct a lot of the time, and I'm pretty passionate, and I'm very clumsy as well.
Makes it all the character, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, so let's have a quick talk over your first album, Made of Bricks. I bet it seems like an age ago now, doesn't it?
It does. It really does, actually. I've just been going through my my laptop, because I have like 20,000 photos on there or something ridiculous, so I'm backing everything up onto a hard drive, and I've been looking at like loads of old photos from back in like 2006 and 7, and it really does seem like a long time ago now.
Yeah, a lot's changed.
A lot. Yeah.
I think that like your first album, like when I first heard it, I thought, I don't know, it really made me like perk up to the fact this is really different music. Like it's almost it's quite raw music, isn't it?
Yeah, cool.
It always, whenever I used to listen to it, always kind of made me feel like I could kind of escape without sounding too cliche. It's like you're watching a story like unfold and everything.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Was that like one of the main aims for like to help people share and relate, like songs like Mariella and I can't think of it, another one, like Nicest Things? It's almost like, I don't know, everyone kind of goes through the same thing and you only realise, don't you?
Yeah, I think the storytelling thing came from, I did a theatre course from like 16 to 18, and I think it really shaped like the way that I write, because I had to write, you know, screenplays and scripts and like monologues and stuff. So it changed me as a songwriter. And then I got into punk music as well. And that kind of, like the first band I was really into was the Buzzcocks. And it made me feel like I could write music, because before that, I just felt like I wasn't smart enough or poetic enough. And I was always trying to be something better than what I was. And when I listened to punk music, I was like, oh, you can write like really, you know, about mundane, everyday, relatable, simple things, and it can still be really relevant. So I think that's kind of where that whole thing, like my first record, came from, I think.
Yeah. Because you were 16 at the time of writing that, weren't you?
Yeah, God.
So,
I'm so old
so
now.
how did you get into music and songwriting? Did you just kind of pick up a guitar one day, or?
I mean, I had a lot of great music in the house. Like my parents listened to like the Beatles and Rolling Stones, and like I remember my mum introducing me to Janis Joplin and Harry Nilsson and like some really cool stuff when I was a kid. And then we had a piano in the house as well, which when I was about 7, I just started playing it, and I asked my mum for piano lessons. And she, you know, just me and my other sisters got piano lessons too, and then I just continued with it into being a teenager. And I did composition at GCSE level, and you have to write a song for that, and then that just kind of kick-started me, you know, wanting to write songs, and I just did it since then.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to your second album now. My Best Friend Is You.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the hardest albums for an artist to write. Do you agree? Because obviously, with the first album, it's everything you've ever compiled goes into one, and with the second album, you almost have to start from scratch again, don't you? How did you find that kind of having to...
It's quite intimidating, I think, because you're not sure if your first record was just a fluke and that you just kind of accidentally managed to write songs, you know. I didn't really feel like, I wasn't like 100% sure if that was what I was supposed to be doing, but I tried to just ignore those pressures really and go in a little bit of a different direction, because I just I don't really believe in recreating the same things. I've always like looked to artists like, you know, David Bowie or Madonna, who always like constantly recreate themselves, and so I wanted to do something a little bit different. And yeah, it's funny like looking back at both records, because I feel like they're both steps towards the record that I've just made, which is cool. And now with this third album, getting over the second record is like, this is my craft, this is what I do, and I feel way more confident about the fact that I am a songwriter and a musician. So it's quite nice to be I feel in a much more comfortable relaxed place to both the first and second records.
Yeah, because of where it's progressed, I suppose.
Yeah, and just being a bit older, I think you just have a bit more confidence. You know, when like you said, I was 16 when I wrote some of those songs, and like I was a teenager when my life changed like drastically. So I was really,
yeah,
it really, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think with the second album, you can definitely see the feist coming out.
Yeah.
Like, you've got something to say and it's important. And for example,
I've always got something to say.
Yeah. For example,
it's not always
like,
important.
in Mansion Song, I know that's quite an eye-opener, actually, I think, when people first hear it.
Yeah.
It kind of like captures how society, like the expectation of women in society is almost corrupt and everything.
Yeah.
That's something you feel strongly about, isn't it? Kind of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a feminist, and like I've always been pretty political because my mum brought me and my sisters up to be like outspoken and political, and just aware of the world. And then going into the music industry and experiencing sexism like firsthand kind of just made me feel really strongly about it. And I guess on my second record, I was quite angry, and I like wrote things like Mansion Song, and that's when my show, I guess, got a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more of the punk influence that I'd always listened to actually kind of coming out through my music a bit. And then now, well, like after my second record, I was sort of bitter. I felt like a bit of a bitter, angry person because I was so worked up about loads of things, and I decided I had to actually do something about it rather than just talk about it. And so that's why I started the after school music clubs. And I did that for like 18 months with 6 different schools in the UK. And then it was to start working with girls to try and get them to write more music, because there's statistically way less female composers than male. So it was such a cool thing to do, because it turned it from being like this negative, horrible thing where I was like angry with the world to like actually a positive, fun thing where it was like, well, you know, I might not be happy with how things are now with my generation, but hopefully I can help change the future for like, you know, younger girls and the next generation of musicians, and maybe we can inspire younger girls to change those statistics, you know.
Yeah, I think that's really important as well, like getting girls more involved in doing things. And yeah, like you said, you started the after school rock and roll for girls after school club. Yeah. I bet it's been quite emotional as well. I mean, you said how I've watched a few videos or read a few blogs that you've wrote, and you said how girls would go in front of the camera and say, well, I can't do it because I'm too ugly, I'm not good enough. I mean, God. I bet that was quite emotional for you.
The first week I went, I cried every night afterwards, and I was like, I don't understand sexism because girls are so amazing. And it was like a really kind of stupid thing to think, but also it really simplified everything for me, because I was like, they're just really girls have so much, like they're so in touch with their emotions, and they have like a lot of this really, I don't know, it was just really cool to like learn. I basically felt like a bigger sister to about 90 teenage girls, really emotionally invested in all of them, and they were really open with me too, like straight away. And so it was hard to hear them, to see how low their self-esteem was, but then it's fueled me kind of with this record, because now, you know, I really don't care about being attacked by media for the way that I look, or I'm really ready to fight, and I feel like I have much more purpose. It's not just because of me, it's because of like, there's like so many kids out there that hate themselves because of the way they look, and that makes me just think like, I don't, you know, I'm just ready to go into battle, basically. Yeah,
I think that's really important, that like you do give people the realization that they can just be who they want to be,
and also you like, it's good for me, like as someone in the public eye who does get judged a lot on the way that I look, to go into to talk to real people and realize that that's not what they're buying into either. Like, they're not happy with the fact that these magazines and media tells them they have to be a certain way. They want reality, and it's nice to realise that, because, you know, you can doubt yourself and think, God, everyone just wants me to change and be this perfect princess. I'm never going to be able to do that. And then, you know, being able to speak to real people and find out the truth is really nice.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, recently you've also become global ambassador for the charity Because I Am a Girl as well, haven't you? So tell us a bit about that. Like, what do they do? And you're going out to Africa soon with them, aren't you?
I'm going to Ghana on the 20th. Yeah, it's crazy. I basically met with them in New York at the beginning of the year, and I was really excited about it because I'd seen like I was aware of their work already. They work in developing countries. I mean, Plan International works in developing countries. The cool thing about them is they go into places and they say, like, what can we do to help make your communities better? And rather than it being about like the Western world coming to like save the day and fix things, they do like they teach people in those communities how to, like, they give them the skills basically so that they can do it themselves, so that once Plan's left, then that community can still run and keep going, and it's not always dependent on a charity to come and fix things for them, which I love. I think that's like the future, and that's the way you're actually going to make a difference to the planet. And they have a branched off charity called Because I'm a Girl, which focuses on girls and trying to get more opportunities for them. And, you know, it's from basic stuff like going into schools and educating boys and girls about sexism and equality to like really serious stuff like trying to make a difference to issues like genital mutilation, kids, like girls getting their clitorises cut off when they're babies, like giving girls a choice about sex, and trying to do something about the fact that there's loads of kids being forced into prostitution in the sex trafficking industry. So it really does cover a lot of different, a huge scale of things. And I'm really excited to be working with them and, you know, being able to get first-hand experience going to Africa and really seeing what they do, so I can talk about it from an experience point of view.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be such an eye-opener.
Yeah, it's going to be life-changing, I think, yeah.
Also, as well, since your first 2 albums, you've created your own record label, haven't you? Half Tempe.
Yeah.
Do you find that things like run more smoothly when you're kind of in control of your own music, kind of like your own boss kind of thing? Yeah,
I mean, I think it's definitely different. It's definitely can be more challenging at times, but it was, you know, and I started it as a trust fund, and then it became like a 7-inch label that I was putting my friends' work out on, and like Brigitte Aphrodite, who's supporting the show tonight at Sub 89. And then, you know, last year it just didn't work out with me and my other label, and I got dropped. And it was kind of scary, but also quite exciting, because I feel like the position that I'm in now, if that had happened to me like 3 years ago, it would have terrified me. But now I've like accumulated the best team, strongest team I've ever had around me, and so I felt quite confident about us being able to do it. And yeah, it is really nice to be my own boss, you know, because I like working hard, and I thrive off like working hard, and I can have control over like everything. I can have control over everything.
Control, yeah. Yeah, I suppose it's like as one door closes, another one opens. Like
yeah, totally. And it's like exposed, like it's just given me a lot more freedoms. There's like less battling to do, and it's good because I like to save my battles for like the right things.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, a bit less stress.
Yeah.
Okay, so your new album, Girl Talk, this is being released March the 4th. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And is available for pre-order now, everyone. You're releasing this on your new record label, aren't you?
Yeah.
And is it right that you're doing a like live set in your house on the release night?
Yeah, on the 3rd of March, we're doing a performance in my living room for stageit.com. They have these like really cool USB microphones that they've sent me, and you just plug it into your computer, and then you do gigs from your home. So that should really be quite fun. I know, a bit nerve-wracking, but we'll see how that goes.
People can kind of like log on and watch it, can't they?
Yeah, it's like anyone can just log in, and it's like a big group Skype, but I can't see the other people, so
yeah. So what can fans expect from this new album? Obviously it's going to be different, and
yeah, I think for some people it's going to be extremely different, which I didn't really realise until I released like Underestimate the Girl, because when I was writing it I was so in my head and just dealing with my own problems. And it's kind of like, you know, if you see yourself every day in the mirror and then someone you haven't seen since school is like, oh my God, you look so different, and you're like, really? I've just been myself, you know. And I've kind of been progressively changing, and now that it's coming out in 2013, it's 2013, isn't it? That sounds so futuristic, doesn't it?
When I write the date still, it's just like, really? 2013?
My God. But sorry. Yeah, I think it's going to be quite different to some people, but it's still ultimately, I think, a pop record. You know, I love pop melodies, and there's like a lot of backing vocals. My voice can do different things now. I've learned how to like scream and shout how I really wanted to, and it's I wrote it predominantly on the bass, so it's kind of heavier straight away because it's like the bass is like in your face, bass in your face.
Bit more punky and
a bit more aggressive.
You mentioned Underestimate the Girl. Is that right, that it was written, recorded, videoed and released within 48 hours? Was that right?
Or
literally over a few days?
It was no one believes that story, and everyone thinks it's a really good marketing stunt, which I guess it kind of is a good marketing stunt anyway. But I was really angry. There's loads of stories for this album that begin, I was really angry. I was feeling particularly aggressive one night. I was really, really angry and emotional. And we were rehearsing, went to my rehearsal room, and the rest of my like girl band left. It was about 11:30 at night, and I was just like fuming, and I was like, I'm gonna write a song. I know I'm gonna write a song. And everyone was like, whoa, see you later. and so I wrote a song it was around midnight, I guess. And then the next day I had promo at my rehearsal room, which was filmed by this guy who like does video work with me, Lee Jones. And so it got to about 4 p.m. I finished the promo, and I just said to everyone, okay, bear with me, because we were going on tour in like 2 days, and I really wanted to release a new song before we went on tour. I was like, bear with me. I've got a new song. We're going to record it and shoot a video for it tonight. And everyone's like, okay. And then I was explaining it to the girls, and like everyone was just kind of like going with me. And we finished recording about 10 p.m. And then we shot the video till 4 a.m. that morning, which was so nice of the owners of the rehearsal room to let us stay there. I bought them a nice bottle of whiskey the next day for letting us do it. And then Lee edited it like that day, and then we released it the next day. So it was kind of an insane turnaround. But I think it's quite good because I just wasn't thinking, like, I had no idea what the reaction was going to be. And thinking back now, I'm like, how did I not expect a crazy reaction? Because it is so different to what I've released before as a single. But I think that is kind of, it was so like crazy and fun to see that spiral out of control. We had like an 8-hour journey to Glasgow or something, and it flew by because I was just on my laptop when we were like, oh my God, like everyone was like freaking out about it. It was really fun. Yeah.
Oh.
I think there was rumours that I died. People were like, rest in peace, Kate Nash.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
We've actually got a question from the Reading University Singer-Songwriter Society.
Ooh.
They said, we've got quite a few people who really want to go far with their music here in Reading. We're a society trying to provide a platform for people to get out there and play. What advice would you give to someone who wants to make it with their music?
I think just, I guess I always say, like, let yourself develop first, because sometimes it's like we live in such an overexposed world that you can maybe put things out too soon almost. But I think maybe that's for people a bit younger. But making sure that you're like confident about what you're doing and you're being yourself is number one. But also, like, at the same time, I think it's just important to kind of be a little bit thoughtless about things and like just go for it and don't overanalyze. You could sit in your bedroom, like, I've got friends who are like amazing writers and musicians, and they tweak something for like 2 years because they're like trying to wait until it's perfect because they've like put too much pressure on themselves to be this incredible songwriter, which they are, but you don't ever see yourself as an incredible songwriter, I feel like. And I think you just have to like put something out there and then move on to the next thing. And so yeah, just like start playing shows and use like the internet is just really amazing. Like, people probably know more about it than I do, to be honest with you. I feel like I'm a MySpace kid, you know what I mean? I'm like, But MySpace is coming back, by the way. Justin Timberlake's relaunching it.
Really?
Yeah, he's relaunching it, and I've seen the like prototype for it, and it looks really good. It looks to like integrate like all the best elements of like all the social networking sites. So hopefully that could be a really good time for songwriters, because I think MySpace was like such a cool thing, you know, like there's not really apart from like YouTube, I guess is where you find music now, but like I found so many bands through MySpace, you know, like it was such an easy way to discover music. But yeah, just play shows, and especially if you're all from like the same area, you can kind of create your own scene, you know, like scenes can be kind of looked down upon because like it's a scene, but I think that's where it's just people from the same area doing cool stuff. So like put on your own nights and make it a cool thing that people want to come to.
Yeah, and I suppose it gives other people the confidence then that when they see that something's happening.
Yeah, they get excited and think, oh, I want to be part of that. Yeah. And go on tour with your friends and like... Just, I remember writing letters. I wrote a letter to John Kennedy from XFM, and he's still got it. He's read it back to me now, and it's really embarrassing. I'm like, I have 700 friends on MySpace, and I think you might like my music. But write to like DJs like Steve Lamacq and John Kennedy, who's still like Steve Lamacq. I know for a fact looks through demos and finds new bands through that, and find out like, you know, your local radio DJs that are passionate about supporting new music and send them demos and record demos, and they can be really crappy because even if something's really crappy, it can be extremely charming and yeah, just like go like find out where to record and try like demos but yeah, put yourself out there and take risks, I think.
Okay. Just going to talk a little bit now about Pledge Music.
Okay. Pledge Music's a good tip as well because anyone can do that.
Yeah, that's true actually.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like a space for artists to kind of connect with their fans, share videos, pictures, tour diaries, the works. You're also doing like handmade crafts and like stuff like that as well. And you're doing agony aunt sessions, is that right?
Yeah,
yeah. How are they going?
Yeah, it's been really cool. I did some like, because it initially started as a bit of a joke that me and my lighting girl came up with because I was like talking to her about all her problems on tour, and she was like, you should do it like an agony aunt thing. And then we like came up with a little jingle and we were joking about it, and then one night I was bored, so I invited her over and we just like drank a bottle of wine and recorded an agony aunt on SoundCloud. And then I've taken it with Girl Talk. It makes sense with the album title, you know, like Girl Talk, the Agony Aunt Sessions. And I'm like, I did one with Willow Smith, with Sarah Soleimani, with Tavi Gevinson, a bunch of other people. And it's just like people wrote in about problems, some of them serious, some of them not so serious. And it's just like talking it over with another person and getting advice, which I think is kind of a nice thing to do. But yeah, Pledge, I first heard about Pledge when Emmy the Great was making her second record, I think, and she, you know, didn't have a label and was able to fund making a record because she just, like, her fans could buy the record before it was even made. So I think there's lots of like cool schemes like that, like Kickstarter is great. I produced a band called Super Cute's record debut, and they got themselves, like, they're 16 and 18, so they couldn't like afford a flight, and they did a Kickstarter and raised the money for their flight tickets to come over and make the record. So there's loads of cool schemes actually to support artists.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good, especially like for people who haven't got the funds to start anything.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
okay, so we mustn't forget that today is Pancake Day.
Oh my God.
So happy Pancake Day.
Thanks. I've only realised I haven't had any pancakes yet.
No, I was about to say, have you had your pancakes?
No,
I'm
really annoyed.
What is your favourite pancake topping?
My mum used to make me jam with double cream, and that is so good.
Yeah.
That is amazing. But then also, like, if you're going savoury, just like a ton of cheese is really good. We had a really good ones in Paris, didn't we, recently? Do you remember those? They were huge. They were like that big. Can't see that on radio. They were this big, everyone.
They were big.
They were huge, yeah.
Because you're quite into your baking, aren't you? I'm not sure, are you? Like,
yeah.
Because on Pledge Music, people can actually pledge for you to make them a cake. Come to their house.
Yeah. I really like making cakes. I don't really make anything that looks very polished, but it definitely all has character. And I do love cooking. My mum's a big cook, so I love making like roast dinners and stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we've come to the end of our interview now, so thank you very much, Kate.
Thanks for having me.
If anyone, is there any tickets available for tonight still?
I don't know, maybe. Yeah, contact the venue. Come down. I'll try and sneak you in.
Yeah, Kate's at Sub 89 tonight. So, yeah, get down if you can. Thank you very much for coming, and you've been brilliant.
Oh, no, thanks for having me. Thanks.